Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Inno bro.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Okay, so today we'll discuss about analog design. Okay, so today's the syllabus that has been mentioned in your by RGHS is that is provided is that is you should study introduction, classical and non-classical analog design, which involves bio-isosteric replacement strategies, rigid analog, alteration of chain branching, changes in a ring size, ring position isomers, design of stereo isomers, geometric isomers, fragments of a lead molecule, variation in interatomic distance. So what is an analog? What is an analog? So if I give you an assignment to 4 people, if I give assignment to 4 people, I'll ask you to design some, I'll ask you to search molecules that act by certain mechanism. Okay, I'll ask you to search a different series of molecules that act by certain mechanisms. So one person will search and he will find and he will write 5 molecules and bring in. You know what other 3 people do? What other 3 people will do? Rashmi.
They will modify the structure.
The same structure they will modify. They'll bring in, they'll search. They don't put much effort. They'll search from the same series of molecules. They don't try to find different molecules, and they'll write 5 more structures and they'll bring in. Correct? So such an activity is called as analogous activity. So that is, analog means an object or a concept or a situation which in some way resembles a different situation. Okay. So here it is the synthesis in drug design. It is the synthesis or designing of novel compounds based on the structures of bioactive lead compounds. What do you mean by lead compounds? What do you mean by a lead molecule? What do you mean by a lead molecule?
Active molecule.
A compound or a molecule which is having at least some activity. Correct? So what is the difference between hit and lead? What is the difference between hit and lead? A hit means a molecule will bind to the receptor, to a particular target, irrespective whether it shows desirable activity or not. Whereas a lead molecule is one step ahead of a hit. That is, it will bind to the target and it will show some desired biological response. That is lead molecule. Okay. So now we'll discuss about goal of analog design. Okay, what is the objective? What is the objective of analog design? What are the objectives that you should achieve when you prefer to design molecules by analog design method? Okay. So now the objective is to design new analogs of lead compound by modifying the chemical structure with increased or same desirable pharmacological activity and minimum untoward pharmacological effect. That is, so you already have a molecule which is showing pharmacological activity. Okay, you are already having a molecule which is showing pharmacological activity. So here the goal, the first objective is to modify that molecule in such a manner, so with a vision, so that you can increase the pharmacological activity, or at least you retain the same pharmacological or therapeutic activity and decrease toxic effects, or you can improve its physicochemical properties. Okay, so the resultant analog, so what will be the outcome of this? So the resultant analog will be with the superior therapeutic effect because of changed physical and chemical properties in comparison to the lead compound. So you are improvising the therapeutic property of the molecule. Okay, so one more objective is to use the newly designed analogs as pharmacological probes so as to gain better knowledge of pharmacology of the lead molecule and perhaps to reveal the new knowledge of basic biology. Okay, so SAR studies of analogs. So here the objective is to design new analogs as pharmacological probes so that you can gain knowledge about its pharmacology. Okay, so you can design an SAR of those molecules. You can find the pharmacophoric group within that molecule. You can find the groups that can cause the toxic effect and eliminate them. You can find the groups that can hinder its pharmacokinetic properties. So you can replace with suitable better groups, and that will help you to synthesize many new molecules further. Okay, so these are the two major objectives. One is to design a better molecule either with better therapeutic effect or better ADME properties, or better or with less toxicity. Okay, and the other is to design its SAR, that is to say, that is design, that is to put more insight into the chemical physicochemical properties of that molecules that are responsible for its therapeutic action as well as its kinetics, pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. Okay, what are the advantages of analog design? Okay, so here the advantage is, so analog design is most advantageous when you have a lead molecule whose biological activity is a function of their nature and chemical structure. What do you mean by function of their nature and chemical structure? That is, so when you alter the chemical structure, like for example, if you replace OH group with CH3, the pharmacological activity can change. Okay, so if you replace with OH and NH2, the pharmacological activity can change. Like if you decrease the polarity, the pharmacokinetics will change. If you increase the polarity, the pharmacokinetics will change. So that is, so if you want to increase and decrease, again you have to change the chemical structure, and so their chemical nature will change. So here when you change their chemical structure or their physicochemical properties, what happens? The biological activity will change. So that is what it says, that is the biological activity is a function of their nature and chemical structure. When you have such lead molecules whose biological activity is a function of their nature and chemical structure, it gives an advantage to design better molecule. Okay, so the newly created analogs may demonstrate pharmacological similarities to lead to the lead compound, but you can but it is not likely to be identical with physicochemical properties, or it can have differences in their toxicity. Okay, so the analogs need not have better therapeutic activity. It can have the same therapeutic activity, but the drug might result in having better physicochemical properties or decreased toxicity. Okay, So the prime initial step of analog design should be the identification of the pharmacophore of the lead compound, so that pharmacophore is rendered intact in the newly designed analog. Okay, so the first step is to identify the pharmacophoric group. Okay, so because if you alter the pharmacophoric group, what happens? The activity, you will start losing its pharmacological activity, desired pharmacological activity. So the first primary goal is to identify the pharmacophore and retain as many properties of pharmacophore as possible. Okay, so the ideal analog design program should involve a single structural change in the lead molecule with each new analog synthesized. Okay, so the ideal analog design is that should involve single structural change. Like you should not carry out multiple structural changes. Like if you need to replace, you can replace with like you can remove one double bond and check, and you can replace OH with NH2 and check its pharmacological activity. Then only you will be able to identify the variation in the correlate, that is, then only you will be able to correlate with the biological activity with the changes in the chemical structure that you're going to do. Okay, so what are the methods of analog design? Okay, so there are 6 well-defined methods, that is bioisosteric replacement, design of rigid analogs, homologation and of the alkyl chain, alteration of the stereochemistry, design of fragments of lead molecules, alteration of interatomic distances. Okay, so the first thing is bioisosteric replacement. So here, what are isosters? Isosters, the molecules are ion with same number of atoms and the same number of valence electrons. Okay, so isosters are the molecules are ions with the same number of atoms and the same number of valence electrons. So we will see some examples, then you will understand. A biological compound containing a isoster is called as bioisoster. ಬಸ್ಸು ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಮತ್ತು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಇರೋ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ. Okay, a biological compound containing an isoster is called as an isoster. Okay, bioisosters are groups or molecules which have chemical and physical properties producing broadly similar biological properties. Okay, so what are bioisosters? Bioisosters are groups or molecules which have chemical and physical properties, same chemical and physical properties producing similar biological properties. Okay, so bioisoster may produce opposite biological effects also. Okay, bioisosters may produce opposite biological effect. So that is why we need to be very, very careful while choosing or while designing, while carrying out bioisosteric replacement. In drug design, the purpose of exchanging one bioisoster for another is to enhance the desired biological or physical or physicochemical properties. Okay, so either the drug pharmacological activity should be enhanced or its pharmacokinetics should be enhanced or the toxicity should be decreased. So mainly without making significant changes in the chemical structure. So here we are going to do very minimal changes. Okay, so here you have bioisosters possesses the same number of valence electrons. So here you have these bioisosters, like fluorine in a chemical structure can be replaced with OH, NH2, CH3, Cl. But what would be the major difference? So fluorine is highly electronegative. So as you take out from OH, NH2 and chlorine, so they are having significant electronegativity. So the polarity will be retained, but whereas when you replace fluorine with CH3, what happens? The polarity will be completely opposite. Correct? So here you need to be careful while choosing the bioisosteric replacement in the chemical structures. Bivalent replacement like oxygen can be replaced with sulfur or selenium, CH2 or NH. Again, replacing with NH, sulfur, what happens? It will have similar physicochemical properties, but when you replace that with CH2 or selenium, what happens? It will have broadly different physicochemical properties. Okay, trivalent, for example, nitrogen is having trivalent, so that can be replaced with CH, phosphorus, arsenic. Okay, so quadrivalent carbon can be replaced with silica, and ring equivalents like CH double bond CH in a ring can be replaced with N in benzene and pyridine. Benzene can be converted to pyridine. It can be replaced with sulfur. Benzene can be converted to thiophene. It can be replaced with oxygen. So it is converted to furon. Okay. So these are ring equivalents. So here you have example. Okay. So if you look at the structure, what is the difference between these two structures, procainamide and procane? Can you spot the difference in procainamide and procane?
Amine is replaced by oxygen.
Where? Address, please. Primary amine or secondary amine?
Secondary amine, sir.
Okay, so that is the amine attached to carbonyl carbon. So this is replaced with an oxygen. So here the valency of nitrogen, so nitrogen is bonded to 2 carbons, correct? So here of course the valency of nitrogen is 3, but here the nitrogen is bonded to 2 carbons. So a similar atom oxygen is introduced, or this amine is replaced with oxygen. Procainamide is converted to procane with a very small bioisosteric replacement. So procainamide and amide has a longer duration of action than procane. So this is an ester. Okay, because of the isosteric replacement of the ester oxygen with the nitrogen atom. Okay, so procane has the duration of action decreases when you replace an amine with oxygen in case of procainamide and procane. Okay, so similar bioisosteric replacement. So imipramine, what is the replacements here? Can you spot the replacements? What are the replacements? Imipramine and amitriptyline, what is the difference? Nitrogen is replaced here, right?
Yes.
So please wait. I don't know, like these people. Okay, imipramine and amitriptyline. Hello. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes. So imipramine and amitriptyline. So here the nitrogen is replaced with the carbon. So one more change is introduced here. What is the change when compared to imipramine and amitriptyline? One double bond is also formed because nitrogen is trivalent, whereas carbon is tetravalent. Correct. So, and doxepin and imipramine, what is the difference?
Oxygen and sulfur, sir.
Oxygen and sulfur. Thiomanazole.
Yeah, carbon is replaced here. This carbon is replaced with oxygen. Correct. So here the CH2 is replaced with oxygen. So here the CH2 is replaced with sulfur. What will be the result? What do you expect when you replace a carbon with oxygen and sulfur? What can you expect? It is very, very simple concept. What happens? Rashmi, ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ? So the major thing is, the major difference here is, here the nitrogen is removed and oxygen is added here, correct? And again here the nitrogen is removed and sulfur is added here. So that can alter its log p values or partition coefficient mainly. Okay, so and in the here also, like in imipramine and amitriptyline, you are reducing the polarity of the molecule. So imipramine is having a polar nitrogen group, whereas that is being replaced with a non-polar carbon, correct? So this will reduce its log p values. Okay, so the next thing is a design of rigid analogs, like imparting rigidity into the molecule where there are flexible bonds, where there is possibility for the bonds to rotate. So there you need impart a rigidity. So the flexible organic molecules may be rendered rigid by imposing some degree of rigidity through incorporation of elements of flexible molecule into rigid ring systems. Okay, so one of the best method is to introduce double bonds or triple bonds. Okay, one of the best methods to impart rigidity is that is nailing. So you need to hit a nail within the molecule so that it does not move. Okay, so now you have become rigid analogs because you are staying at your home, correct? Correct, no? You agree? Okay. Am I audible to you?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Correct, no? You have been monitored continuously. So here, what is the advantage of designing rigid analogs? So that helps to maintain the three-dimensional geometry of the pharmacophore. If you are able to find out in what conformation a molecule shows best activity, you can hold the molecule of that is or you can hold the pharmacophore in that particular conformation by introducing rigidity. The key functional groups are held in one position or in semi-rigid structure form. So this are constrained to a limited range of conformation and interatomic distances. So by this technique, it is possible to freeze specific conformation of a flexible lead molecule which is having higher degree of pharmacological activity. So this is the basic advantage of designing a rigid analog. So you can hold or freeze a molecule to a particular conformation which shows maximum pharmacological activity. Okay. So here you have mepyridine. Okay. So what we have done to this mepyridine? So here, so this is an piperidine structure, right? So this ring is not having any double bonds. Have you studied the conformation of cyclohexane? ರಶ್ಮಿ ಯಾರು ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ನಿಮಗೆ POC2 ನಾನೇ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಬಸವರಾಜ್ ಸರ್.
ಬಸವರಾಜ್ ಸರ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೈಕ್ಲೋಹೆಕ್ಸೇನ್ಸ್ ಕಲ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ?
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? ಮರ್ತೋಗಿದ್ಯಾ? ಗೂಗಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಈಗ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
So there is board conformation, chair conformation. So and you know that this cyclohexane structure will be changing from board conformation to chair conformation, will be flipping from one form to another continuously. That is to say, cyclohexane is flexible. But we don't study the stereochemistry of benzene. Correct? We don't study the stereochemistry of benzene because it is a rigid molecule. Benzene is a rigid molecule. Okay, so here what happens is when you introduce, so here piperidine does not have any double bond in its ring structure. So what you have to do is you have to impart a rigidity to a particular conformation. How it is imparted? Here they have bridged this carbon atom, 5th and 3rd carbon atom. Okay, they have bridged this 5th and 3rd carbon atom. So here you can see, here you have the bridge in this first structure. Okay. So what happens is, so here due to that, so this you can create two conformations, one where benzene is below the plane and other where benzene is above the plane. Okay, please pause for a minute, then we will discuss homologation of alkyl chain and alteration of chain branching. We'll take a break for 2 minutes. Okay. Hello. Welcome back. So I think we are nearing the end of the class. We are nearing the end of the class almost. Okay. So homologation of alkyl chain or alteration of chain branching and changes in the ring size. Okay, so these are the three things that you can do to improve the physicochemical properties of analogs or designing analogs. So here homologation means what? Homologous series means? Have you heard about homologous series? So methane. What is the formula of methane? What is the formula of methane?
CH4.
CH4. Quickly you have to say. You have to say very, very quickly. Ethane.
C2H5.
C2.
H6, sir.
Propane.
C3H.
Butane.
C3, C4H10, sir.
Hexane.
C6H12.
Pentane.
C5H12, sir.
Pentane is C5H12. Huh?
C5H10, sir.
Right. C6H12 is hexane or C5H12 is pentane, which is correct? What is the general formula for all alkanes? General formula of alkanes.
CnH2n plus 2, sir.
So pentane is C5H12, hexane is C6H14, cyclohexane is C6H12, cyclopentane is C5H10. Correct? So you should be very, very that should come spontaneously from you. Then only you will be able to adapt to the research level in chemistry. Okay, basics you need to have a very strong foundation. Then that will help you. Really, that will help you. Okay. So get back to the basics. Take Morrison and Boyd, refer Bruce, read first 2-3 chapters thoroughly, repeatedly. Then your basics, you'll start learning basics from there and learn periodic table thoroughly. Go through the history, starting from history to the way the periodic table that is used till now. So learn thoroughly, listen. So regarding periodic table, there are beautiful lectures in Khan Academy. If you spend 1 hour, you can learn a lot about periodic table. Okay. So homologation means here when a series of molecules where one molecule will differ from other higher molecule by constant number of atoms, like methane and ethane. What is the difference? It is CH2. Ethane and propane, it is CH2. Homologation means you are going to synthesize a series of molecules where one molecule will differ from other higher molecule by a definite group of atoms, definite group and number of atoms. So this will have profound effect on its physical, chemical and pharmacological properties, like homologation, alteration in chain branching, like increasing the size of chain branching, decreasing or introducing a branch, or changing the ring size, converting a 5-membered pyrrole to pyridine, so it can have a different property. Increase in number of carbons in a chain may significantly increase the lipophilic character, okay, because it decreases the polarity. Like methane is highly polar, ethane is having lesser polarity when compared to propane. For example, methanol is highly polar, okay, CH3OH. You add CH2, it becomes ethanol. The polarity decreases a little bit. You add you add one more CH2, convert it to propanol. It will have still reduce property. Okay, you go on adding CH2 groups to the alcoholic group. So then what happens? So after beyond 8 carbon atoms, the polar that will become completely non-polar. Like for example, long chain carboxylic acids. So they are called as fatty acids. Fatty acids are non-polar because they contain many numbers of CH2 groups. Okay, because they contain many number of CH2 groups. Okay. So increasing the number of carbon in a chain may significantly increase the lipophilic character of the molecule. So the next thing is homologation. So alteration of size and shape of alkyl substituent can cause the conformational changes in a flexible molecule, and this may alter the spatial relationship of the components. So that is, it can alter the stereochemistry. So you know that if you are having two isomer, it need not be necessary that they will have same pharmacological activity. Okay, so it can alter the spatial relationship of the components of the pharmacophore, and it can impart a high degree of complementarity to the molecule with the receptor. It can increase the activity or decrease the activity. Alkyl groups play a major role in drug design of the molecule, and therefore alteration of the alkyl chain can alter its binding properties. Okay. So here you have this. So this drug is nothing but dopamine. Okay. So here R and R dash. So here there are 4 molecules that were designed. In the first molecule, R and R dash was CH3 and CH3, and in second it is N-propane C was added, replaced, methyl group was replaced with N-propane, and in the 63rd molecule, N-propane CH3, that is N-propane of R dash was replaced with N-butane, and in the 4th structure, so they replaced both propanes with N-butane. So what happened here is, so the study of dialkyl dopamine revealed that some combinations of the alkyl groups may impart high degree of dopamine agonistic effect. Like for example, dimethyl dopamine is extremely potent, as is di-N-propyl dopamine, whereas N-N-propyl N-butyl dopamine is potent dopaminergic agonist. However, di-N-butyl dopamine, that is 64 molecule, is totally inert. Okay, so when you introduce 2 butane groups here, what happens? It becomes completely inert molecule. It does not show any dopamine agonistic activity. Okay, so the next thing is alteration of stereochemistry and design. Okay, alteration of stereochemistry and design. So if you look at this molecule, so here the only difference is, so the hydrogen in the molecule number 94 is going behind the plane, and here in 93 it is coming above the plane. Okay, so that is 11-hydroxy-10-methyl propane is highly selective serotonergic 5-hydroxytryptamine agonist. Okay, whereas 94 is antagonist. So you can see same molecule, same number of atoms, the same position, but they differ only hydrogen differs in the spatial arrangement. They have opposite configuration, they are enantiomers, and they are having opposite pharmacological activity. Okay, one is agonist and another one is antagonist. So that is the importance of stereochemistry. Okay, so the next thing is the fragments of the lead molecule. Some lead molecules, especially polycyclic natural products, so they might be like structurally, many naturally occurring compounds are very, very complex molecules. Okay, and this complexity is not necessary. Many times it will not be necessary for optimal pharmacological effect. So in that case, what you have to do is you need to find the pharmacophoric group in that complex molecule. Okay, you need to find the pharmacophoric group. Then you have to retain that pharmacophoric group and start dissecting the molecule. You need to remove the unwanted groups and start studying. You need to remove group one by one and start studying, and you need to maintain the minimum molecular size. You need to find the minimum molecular size that is required for optimum pharmacological activity. So that will help you when you reduce the size of the molecule, that will improve its physicochemical properties. It can easily reach the drug target. It can be easily eliminated. As the molecular size increases, reaching the drug target will be difficult. So the potency becomes, that is, the potency decreases. Okay. So for this, bond disconnection strategy may be employed, in which bonds in polycyclic structures are broken or removed to destroy one or more of the rings. Possible disadvantage is when you break the molecule, so the molecule becomes flexible, so it will not stay in a single optimum conformation that is required. So it will lose its potency. It can lose its potency. Okay. So that is why, along with the pharmacophoric group, you might require some groups that can impart a rigidity to the pharmacophoric group. So the dissection has to be carried out very, very carefully so that the molecule does not become flexible. Okay. So here you have morphine, correct? So this is morphine. So here OH is removed, and then this cycle is removed. So this is the minimum structure that is required for the morphine analogs to show pharmacological activity. Okay. So lastly, the alteration in interatomic distances. Okay. Alteration in interatomic distances. So here you have a drug molecule. So what you can do is you can alter the interatomic distances of the molecules by introducing rings between two atoms or two rings. Like here you can add benzene rings or a phenanthrin ring or naphthalene ring, okay, or substituted benzene rings, or you can start introducing the alkyl chain or alkene chain or alkyne chain between the molecules, and study like increasing the distances will help, whether increasing distances between two atoms or two rings can help the activity or its physicochemical property. Sometimes what happens is, so that it will help us to avoid the non-bonding interaction between two groups which can be very near. So you can keep them far, so that might increase the stability of the molecule. Okay, so this is about analog design. If you have any doubts, you can ask. So for this you can refer Silverman and Berger. Or today afternoon.